You put solar panels on your house a few years ago and now you're thinking about selling your house. But if the solar panels aren't paid off, how does that work? Does it help you or does it hurt you having the solar panels? Hi, my name's Jose. I'm a realtor with RE/MAX here in the Inland Empire in Southern California. And well, if this is your first time to the channel, first of all, welcome. Always honored to have you here. In fact, be sure to hit the subscribe button right down over here, and then also be sure to hit the bell too. This way you never miss any future content where I talk about buying, selling, and of course living here in the Inland Empire. Okay, let me start here first. Solar panels in today's world can absolutely be a selling feature. Listen, think about it. If you have a 2,000 square foot house and it's right in the middle of summer and that heat is just cranking, your electric bill is obviously going to jump. Who's not going to be running their AC at that time? And with a house that big, or what if it's even bigger, it's not uncommon to have electric bills hit $500, maybe even $600 a month. Okay, I'm sure I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, which is why you obviously have solar panels on the house. My point is though, is that that's a huge selling feature. And if marketed right, if promoted right, that can be a huge attraction that really can help pull buyers in and honestly help buyers find it that much more attractive and want to make an offer that much quicker on your house. But I caution you when thinking that having solar panels will automatically increase your sales price.
What did he say?
Okay, let me expand on that because it can, in some cases, it can help entice a buyer to really like your house that much more and maybe consider offering a little bit more for your house. But more times than not, that's if the panels are paid for free and clear. Here's what I mean. If your panels, they still have a finance agreement, meaning there's still finance payments due on the panels, or maybe there's still time on the lease, it could, I'm not necessarily going to say in every case, but it could prevent a buyer from wanting to offer more for your house. Now, if the panels are paid for free and clear, I mean, I've seen cases where buyers offer even as much as $15,000 over your list price just because of the panels. But if they have to assume the finance payments or they have to take over the remaining time on your lease, I mean, it can turn some buyers off. In their mind anyway, they could be looking at those as great. Now I got to take on even more debt.
That makes no sense.
Hey, I agree. I'm totally with you on that. I mean, those finance charges, those lease payments, they're probably in most cases going to be much less than the electric bill, especially during the summer. But unfortunately, for some buyers, they just don't see it. Here's another one to keep in mind because I have been told that finance payment or that lease payment, it is going to be looked at by a lender as a debt payment, meaning it's going to count against them and potentially anyway reduce the amount of loan that they can qualify for. Now, if your solar panels are leased, here's a couple strategies when it comes to selling your home. You can either pay off the remainder of the lease at the close of escrow, or you can always transfer the lease over to the buyer. Yeah, if the buyer is willing to take over the remainder of the lease, and keep in mind, they do need to meet the credit requirements by the solar company too, but if they're willing to do that, then yeah, you can always transfer over the lease into their name. Quick bit of interesting information. There was a study recently done by the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, and they were looking at homes here in Southern California, and in their study, they found that 20% of the participants of the study had a buyer that was interested in buying their home. However, those buyers ended up getting scared away because of the lease on the solar panels. Now, if you have a financed solar system on your house, your options, they kind of vary depending on how you finance the solar system. Meaning this, if you finance the solar system by taking an equity loan or maybe even an equity line of credit on your house, you're gonna have to pay that off when you sell your house. But if it was financed with an unsecured loan, meaning it's not tied to the house, whether that's a loan through the solar company directly or someone else, whether it's a bank, whoever, but you got a loan that's not tied to the house, then in that case, I mean, there really isn't anything from preventing you from selling the house without paying off the loan. And before you say it, I'm sure I already know what you're likely thinking. Jose, okay, so who's making the payments on those solar panels going forward if we don't own the house anymore? Well, if the loan for your solar panels hasn't been paid off, then you are. I mean, you're still on the hook for the payments for that loan. However, you can always check with the finance company and see, hey, I mean, can the loan be assumed? Can the buyers of my home take over the loan? But if you do decide to do that, just as with the lease, you do have to find a buyer that's willing to take over that finance payment. And even if you do find a buyer that's willing to do that, remember, the lender's going to look at that finance payment as additional debt. And there is always the chance that it could prevent them from qualifying for enough loan to purchase your house. The good news? Of course, keep in mind the local real estate market, it will affect this. But if you are able to get a little bit more for your house, it could be enough to be able to use to just pay off the solar panels at the close of escrow. Listen, my personal opinion on this, paying off the solar panels when you sell the house, whether it's a finance or whether it's a lease, but paying them off at the close of escrow, it's only going to help you when it comes to finding a willing and able buyer. Do you have to do that? No, not at all. But in my experience, it definitely can help. Of course, if you are thinking about selling or even buying a home here in the Inland Empire, my contact information is below. Otherwise, I would definitely catch this video next, talking about a few creative ways to make sure you get the most possible money when you sell your house without lowering your sales price. Either way though, feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help.